All right, gang, I am sitting down now with my pal Aaron Sheeks, the co-founder of Autominer and president of Pure Cars. This is a new development that I want the TMZ scoop on. Man, thanks so much for joining me on the Dealer Playbook podcast.
Thank you for having me, my friend. It is always a pleasure to swap notes with you.
First of all, congratulations. I feel like just yesterday, you and I were sitting at a table at Glenn Lundy's deal. I had just finished speaking. You were getting up to go and speak. You slayed it. And, you know, your energy is infectious. But first of all, I want to just get into the weeds of building a business. And then I want to get into the topic of clean data and dissecting that and the benefit to the industry and why it's important. But first and foremost, and I want to be clear, the Mazel Tov hat tip to you isn't necessarily the ringing of the bell of the acquisition. It's the fire that you walked on. You know, like that journey to me is the piece that really intrigues me. Like going from just your history in automotive. So maybe can you give me, bring me inside of that grind? Because I think people sling around the word grind like it's the new rice cake on the block, but it's like, what did that actually look like for you? What did that mean?
Yeah. I think interesting that you asked that of all people, that it took a CEO, founder, entrepreneur to see it through that lens. First one to ask it that way. So kudos to you. And I think the grind is all fake. Grinding is not real. Grinding is something that you described yourself doing, but grinding to me is really just another word for discipline. And discipline to me is how you become successful, not only in business, but in life and parenting and all of these other things, right? So jumping into the business portion of it, as I'm throwing my favorite talking marker around, is it started in the fire, to your point, 10, 12 years ago. I said, you know what, I'm going to quit flying planes. I love being in the Navy. I love suiting it up. I love the people that I was with, but there was a bigger purpose for me. And I started to understand what that looked and felt like, because I could tell that I maybe didn't fit in where I was anymore. And I started to outgrow the boots that they issued me a little bit. And I wanted to start solving problems critically. And I landed in automotive because this is the single, most intriguing place of salespeople, problem solvers that just know how to get things done and make money while doing it. And I just fell in love with the space. And therefore, when you always have to try to sell the best salespeople on the planet, you better bring it every single day, or they will absolutely see through you. So it's not a facade. It's not fake. It can't be real. It's not a grind. It's not a go read a motivational book and I'm going to do this thing for 75 days. That's not it. It's relentless pursuit. Violent forward motion is how I describe it. It is violent forward motion in all aspects of life every single day, whether you feel like doing it or not. That's not grinding. That's discipline.
Oh, man. Like this tracks brilliantly to a conversation I just had with my 13-year-old who wants to be in the NBA, who only practices at school. And I'm like, bud, let's talk about discipline. He's like, what'd I do wrong? And I'm like, no. That's not discipline. Yeah. You're thinking of discipline like police officer meets, criminal. Discipline is wake up, make your bed, even though you don't want to. It's dribble the ball for 3 hours after school on both hands because that's going to make you faster, more nimble. Discipline is not being showy, even though you could, because you want to do the right thing.
Yeah, that's tough. That was a tough one.
That's and that maps to our industry in particular, because it's like, I want to show, I got to show. There's an element of show. But I love how you just sum it all up in, it looks like gritty, roll up your sleeves, put your head down, and freaking run through walls to make success happen.
There's really no choice unless someone ran through the wall before you and is going to reach down and pull you through the hole. if you're going to make your own hole, you better run fast, right? You better get moving. And I think most folks like you and me, and like that's just where we were, is there are a lot of people that showed me how to make that hole, that showed me how to do the skills and the craft and the tools to make the hole the right way. But no one was going to get through there for me. No one cares about your success more than you do.
And this also intrigues me from the other angle that I think sometimes plagues us as just our human nature, which is social media, which I've talked about on the show before, where obviously we only want to post what's interesting because it's what's interesting or what we think is interesting, but that can have an adverse effect where people start, unbeknownst to their conscious competence, they start living someone else's dream, feeling unfulfilled. And what I admire about you is you did bring people into your journey, little glimpses at a time. I'm playing a gig at this club because it's my creative outlet. But here's my Sunday with my kids. Oh man, like it's Saturday. I had to run into the office and I should go back home, but like also I could close down a few more deals.
Yeah.
And what I admire is you did you, and that's what it takes. It takes clarity on what you're working toward and going for it and shutting out the facade of what everyone else is doing.
You described that in a much nicer way than I typically do. I think you nailed it. I'm very colorful in language by general, right? So I think you described it perfectly in that there are thousands and thousands of people that we know and care about and respect in the business that have this like thing on social media where you think that they live in this life that is some magnificent, fabulous thing that isn't real life because that's what they show the world. That's great. You can do that. I think that's authentic and maybe that helps aspire to their goals. And I take pieces of that as needed, but I'm just real all of the time, right? Like the character in life that is Aaron Sheeks. Like I explained it to my kid this way, my 9-year-old this way. I said, imagine you're playing a third person video game and you can tell this character in life what to do and where to go and how to think and what decisions to make. But you can also come back and reflect on it. Well, that was a bad decision, or maybe you shouldn't hang out with that person, or maybe that doesn't fulfill you to getting to the end goal, but you have to know what the end goal is. So for me, I always know where I'm going to land every single time, even today. I know where I'm going to land. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know what things I'm going to have to solve along the way. I don't know what people are going to be with me, and I don't know how much I'm going to need them or not need them to get there, but I know where I'm going to land. So if I can just help show people like, hey, I'm on my way. Here's what I'm doing. Here's things that motivate me or feed my chip on my shoulder or help me be a better dad or whatever those things are. Like here's my real life journey of the character that is Aaron Sheeks in my life, because I know what the 65-year-old version of myself looks like and what he accomplished and what he did. And if I don't get to what that is in my mind, I have failed. And that part, that's the part that I think big picture leadership, that's the part I think we struggle with a lot of times just as men or as fathers or as leaders is maybe you don't know what that looks like. Maybe you don't know how to get there. And maybe you haven't, like, if no one showed you what you should aspire to this because you're capable of so much greatness. So instead we settle into some sort of mid-tier where someone paid us this amount of money to give us all of their time for this window, or they've set a bar of human growth or personal growth on you. And that's as far as you can see. I just never allowed someone to tell me that I couldn't see farther than that.
Dude, when I grow up, I want to be Aaron Sheeks.
No. You want to be the
joiner, Aaron Sheeks.
Quit it. First of all, you're going to have to grow some hair. I have hair.
Dang, well, I know it's gorgeous.
I know, but I don't have, your beard is significantly better than mine. So we'll trade in the next round.
A little microcosm of how without clarity and focus, we just want to be someone else.
That's it. You always do, right? Like You always do.
Yeah, you do. Like, as much as I would love to, like, but you know what you're talking about, and what I hope those watching and listening pick up on here is you got, like, this is the beck and cry for you to finally give yourself permission to be fully you. Like, as much as I want to look awesome wearing an all yellow sweatsuit, I've accepted that's not me. So I do me. You know what I mean? Like, and you've done you, and you had a thesis and you're fulfilling it. It's in the same way. Like, I've never actually opened up in this way and shared, like, you know, because when you're in an industry and an entrepreneur and you're conditioned through the social inputs to say, well, the only way to achieve success is to have someone pay boatloads of cash to buy you. For years, that input was like, wow, I'm a failure. I'm a failure because I have a business that, you know, feels like it's not growing fast enough. Now, as a 40-year-old semi-retired guy who's got that same business 20 years later, that's generating revenue, that's growing without me, that's got an amazing team that I can sit down with and say, here's my purpose. My purpose is that I want to go and do mission work with my wife and have the company keep paying me. My mission is to be the 65-year-old who could just travel around and help other small business owners or other people find their greatness and accept it and know that the company still provides for me. I've received a glimpse of that, and I wouldn't trade the last 10, 15 years of discipline for anything. I'm like, is this what freedom feels like?
Ooh, you said my word. You said my word. Freedom.
The word? Talk
freedom.
To me about that. How did you
freedom is
that being your word?
Discipline equals freedom in my world and all things, right? So freedom is freedom of mindset, freedom to think critically, freedom to solve problems how I want, freedom to wake up when I want, live where I want, like anything. I do what I want, when I want, where I want, because I take care of everyone around me. And therefore no one stops me or gets in my way. So like for me, discipline and taking care of being the dad of 4 girls and being the husband of my wife and being the president of Pure Cars or the CEO of Automotive or whatever role I've played in life, if I take care of those around me, then that allows me magnificent amount of freedom up here, not in time, because I don't have any of that, and certainly not in lack of responsibilities, because I have tons of those. But it is when I lay my head down at night, I'm thinking about things that solve problems 5, 6 moves from now, and I'm not stuck in the grind of like, golly, I hate my job today. I don't want to go to work tomorrow. I wish my coworker wasn't talking about this. Like, I wish my boss wasn't telling me I couldn't make more money, or I don't have those limitations in my life or in relationships in my life, because I know where I'm going and I know how to, like, where I'm going to land. So I have the freedom to move around inside of those lanes to get there. Freedom, discipline equals freedom.
Wow. I almost don't want to talk about any of the marketing stuff because I'm loving this so much.
Shooter's choice. I said everything's on fire today. We don't even have to talk about work. I think if you want to talk about how to be successful in business, you have to lead in a mindset that's bigger than, hey, I built this product. Like, yes, we built this product. I had amazing partners, great dealer partners, tons of input. Yes, we built an incredible product, but I'm not successful because of the product. I'm successful because I convinced 29 people to take part out of their life, to leave their families, their husbands, their wives, their priorities, to seek freedom inside of the lane that I knew that we could win in, because sure, it took care of them financially and it gave them great work-life balance and all the things that we have to do to be great leaders, but they chose to come here. They chose to be here. That's the real key to building the business, is you've convinced other human beings to join you on your journey because it aligns with theirs.
I.e., the thing you built is the vehicle that gets you to what your actual definition of success is. And to sum all of this kind of portion of the convo up, you need to know what your definition of success is.
I think
What, go ahead.
running a company for 20 years to be financially independent and free at the age of 40 while still being involved in an amazing dad is freedom. That's success, right?
Yeah.
Like that's success, right? Being acquired, not being acquired, none of that matters. Like none of that is important. You did all of those things because you wanted the priority in life of being free to choose how you want to live your life, to raise your family, how you want to do that, to spend the time with the people you care about. This is just the thing that helps me do all of those things at the level I want to.
Yeah. Oh, it's deep, man. This conversation is like a trip to Europe because everyone has this problem. They go to Europe and they're like, but Italy's so close. We could just go to Italy for a day. And France is so close. We could just go to France for a day. You ultimately end up where you started, which is, no, we should probably fully explore Spain. You know, it's like, we're in Spain. Let's just fully explore it. That's going to take too much away. So like, that's how I feel. I'm like, I want to talk to you about Auto Miner. I want to talk to you about pure cars. I want to talk to you all about this, but we're in this locale. And I love everything about this, dude, because it's really the mission of why this show even exists. It's to explore what it takes to create a thriving life leveraging the automotive industry as the vehicle that helps us do that. It's not, when we first started the show, it was like, here's 10 sales techniques that'll help you, blah, 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 right? It was like, but that wasn't me either. I was like, but what if your wife hates you? Who cares if you sell 8 cars, 12 cars, 15 cars? If she hates you at 15 cars, she's going to hate you at 30. How do we make that right? So I love that, man. And I appreciate the way you see that. We need, in my opinion, more people to understand, while mass media and social wants us to believe that unlimited money, like, and I'm not knocking anybody, but as a frame of reference, Cardone's going to say, oh, well, there's people that say money doesn't buy happiness, but that also having money, like, so what's the difference? Like on both sides of that spectrum, if money can't buy happiness, then what's wrong with still having the money and not being happy? Like I'd rather have the money and not be happy than be unhappy and not have the, but Amen. What I want to kind of underscore though, is you defined fulfillment and happiness before the money, and it sustained you through money and through building the business.
Money is just another resource in the game of life. There's time, there's money, there's energy, there's like ambition, there's all of these things. Money is just the thing that you give other people for the stuff that you need on your journey of life, right? So for me, money is only valuable if it helps me get the things or the resources that I want in life that make me happy while I get to my destination. Like I'm only going to be here a certain amount of time. I respect and I like, life has taught me that that's finite and I'm going to enjoy every single day. And money to me never made me happy before. When I didn't have it, it's not going to make me any happier now, but it does allow me to buy lots more options to be happy in small doses, right? It does get my kids to go to schools they want to go, or to live at the place we want, or to provide more options on my path or to the destination, right? So it makes getting there easier. And it also allows you to have a bigger impact in those around you. No one that's broke you can't help the person next door if you don't have any money. You can't go on mission trips if you don't have it, right? Like resources are required to make an impact. And if you don't have resources, your impact ability is very, very small. That's what it's about for me.
Yeah. And I appreciate that in the sense of there's a timeline there. Like there's definitely a period of time where when you don't have the money, it's amplified that you don't have, it feels really sucky that you don't have it. So it ties up all of your focus. So in those periods of my life, I was focused on money, not from the sense of a lack of, from the sense of I need to go and make more of this so that it's not tying up my focus anymore. I'm not worried about how to pay my bills. I'm not worried about keeping the wolf off the doorstep. And something unlocks when you don't have that worry and that focus anymore, where it just accelerates from there. And so I'm with you there. That definitely, it's still not a connector to happiness, but there is the focus piece for me that's very real, where it's like, well, I don't have to focus on that.
It's the connector to freedom. It's the connector to freedom. I just want
to insert like the Braveheart. Like that's where it is.
It literally, it's like, yes, I'm a prior Navy guy, like freedom and pro-America, like that is my thing, right? But that word can be used in so many different ways, in so many different, it's not just limited to that use case. I think sometimes we forget that it is, but money equals freedom because you're not worried about the wolf at the doorstep. Now you're waking up at 4 a.m. to think about, hey, how do I make an impact on this mission trip? Or how do I make an impact on the local church events or whatever? You're focused on other people's problems instead of your own.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I want to, since you brought it up, perhaps I conveniently, for my own vain ambition, led you in the direction of your experience flying airplanes, because my vain ambition, I tell people this all the time. The first time I saw Top Gun, I might have been 5 years old. And I was like, here's my life goals encapsulated in 1 hour and 42 minutes. I will fly jets. I will get my pilot's license. I will ride motorcycles. I will marry a hot blonde, albeit there's some debate on that portion in the movie. And I will ride with hot blonde to Marina on motorcycle and make out ferociously on the docks. I was like, 5, 6, 7-year-old. I'm like, what more could a man ask for? Don't have my pilot's license yet. Ride motorcycles. Married the gorgeous blonde. Will not get on the motorcycle with me. Cannot ride to marinas. I'm landlocked. But to the point of flying airplanes, first of all, first vain question in this round of get to know Aaron Sheeks better. What did you fly?
I was a P3 guy. So to be fair, I started as a crewman in the back for several years. I tracked submarines using fancy software stuff. So tracked submarines. They let me go play in the front. And then luckily the Navy sent me back to school, sent me to flight school. And as the story goes, we had too many pilots. I saw an opportunity to chase a different career path and off we went. So I loved flying in the phase of life that flying was there. And then I loathed flying when I knew that it was time to do something, that was time to do something else. So for me, and I have lots of friends that are brilliant pilots and jet guys and Top Gun guys and guys that live that life. They love it. It's for them. I'm super proud of them.
Right.
For me, it was always something different, and it was never my fire. It never drove me to want to do that. So for me, it was a job.
Do you still fly though? Do you still do you take up a whole Cessna 152 or anything like that?
No, nothing.
Could you if you wanted to?
Yeah, of course I could if I wanted to. I mean, anybody can fly a little Cessna. I mean, to be fair, if you understand the basics of flight, that thing flies itself. Just go out on a windy day. It's a kite. So, I mean,
it's a Yugo with wings.
Yeah, it's it. I mean, houses get bigger, houses get smaller. It's not all that hard to figure out. But yeah, could I go? Sure. Would I want to? No. I probably wouldn't be very safe at this point. I've been removed long enough that I'm probably dangerous.
Gotcha.
So. No, I think I do enjoy though. I still like putting on the flight suit. I enjoyed doing that for several years after I flew. I stayed in the reserves. I helped, at an operational unit, and we did some, back end ground stuff. I still like putting on the flight suit. You still feel like Tom Cruise when you put on the leather jacket. And I used to ride a Harley to work. So I lived a good portion of that life.
Correction, Aaron. You with your physique feel like Tom Cruise. If I put on your flight suit, everyone would be like, when did Danny DeVito grow a beard?
No, quit it. Quit it. You roll it on a flight suit, on a bike, man, they'll throw you keys to a plane. They won't even ask twice.
No, they'd be like, just go jump on. Who's Mario over there? They'd be like, who called the plumber? They wouldn't even make the connection to flight suit. Now, okay, but I ask you this strategically. Yes, vain ambition, because I do want I got to get my private pilot's license. And there's a reason for that. It's the same reason why, I rode motorcycles in high school, and then I didn't for a long time, and then got married and kids and just all that. And it wasn't until I truly felt the fear of getting back on a motorcycle that I was like, I am getting back on a motorcycle. I've wanted to fly planes for so long, but now I'm feeling the older I get, there's that little fear. Oh no, maybe you don't. Maybe that's too scary. Have you ever, air traffic control and I don't know what to say and all this. And I'm like, I got to do it. So that's the vain ambition of it. I'm always interested in learning about people that fly airplanes because I think it's the coolest thing ever. Second thing to that is, what do you feel, if anything, the experience of being in the Navy, flying, taking control of a big machine and knowing other people's lives are kind of dependent on your inputs and outputs has contributed to how you grow your business?
I'm trying to think of how to say this on your show without using my colorful language.
What you got to do.
I have a mindset. I've lived a crazy life where I've been in airplanes on fire over the Atlantic, where people have shot at us, where I've been in war zones, where I've buried buddies. And like, I lived life really hard in the window of 18 to 30 to 31. Nothing can hurt me. Nothing. If that didn't kill me, this won't. And if I could do that, I can certainly do this, because flying in planes and doing survival training and all of those things was 10 times harder than anything I've physically or mentally had to endure running a business. It just is.
Wow.
So it has allowed me to have a mental toughness to know that, like, this too shall pass. If it's really hard right now, keep grinding. This too shall pass. You've heard probably Tom Hanks has said this in places, right? Like, it allowed me to know that it's a moment in time. The beatings will come to an end. The sun will come up tomorrow. You absolutely cannot hurt me or kill me, because lots of people have tried, and here I am. So I am the baddest dude on the planet inside of my little window of excellence. Now, if you get outside of my window of excellence, I'm just another dude in the woods that, grew up in the middle of nowhere, right? But in that tiny little window of excellence, I am so very dangerous that no one can touch me. And I live life just knowing that that's where I'm going to maintain and stay.
Knowing what you know, in winding down, knowing what you know from your vantage point, if you could sum up for the DPB gang how to best experience freedom within the automotive industry, how would you sum it up?
Align yourself with people who care about your mission and not the resources that you provide them. Don't allow yourself to fall in a trap of thinking that you're not capable of doing their job. They're not any better than you are at it. They've just done it more times than you have. And never believe for a million years that if you had to put it all on the line and take the biggest risk of your entire life and bet your entire family on it, that you wouldn't be able to do it. Because you can. Because you can.
Wow. My man, thank you. Love you, buddy. And certainly appreciate you sharing time with me today. How can those listening get in touch with you to learn more about the Auto Miner and Pure Cars?
Yeah, awesome. You can check us out, purecars.com, theautominer.com, also there. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm the most approachable person on the planet, apparently. My cell phone number hasn't changed since I was 18. So if you know my grandma, you can still ask her for it. She'll send you that as well. Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Dealer Playbook Podcast.